What is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another episode of The Kingdom Says. I am your host, as always, Garrett Williams, and I am joined today by one of my two usual co-hosts, Kyle Henning. Kyle, how are we doing tonight, sir?
It's good to be back. It's been a little while since we've done one of these because
Mm-hmm.
everybody had
Mm-hmm.
stuff going on, and then weather got wild, and then other things happened
Yeah.
again. But that was also kind of a bye week game, as much as it wasn't a bye week game. It was a bye week game, so we kind of treated it like a bye week. So how are you doing, Garrett?
I'm doing pretty good. The Chiefs' regular season has come to a close here. One of the less fun seasons, obviously, of the Patrick Mahomes era for sure. But we are in the playoffs now, so that's kind of the biggest topic, really.
It's the goal every
So
year. Get in.
hey, as long as you get in and you're dancing, that's all you got to do. Once you get
They
in there
won
and
their
you're dancing,
division.
anything can happen.
They won their
Yeah, one in
division.
the division
That's
once
goal one.
again. That's as soon as you
Eighth straight.
lock that up, that's pretty easy.
They're the only team in their division with a winning record this year.
Yeah, crazy. That's according to the preseason folks. That's never going to be the case, but
The
always
preseason
ends up
champs
being the
fired
case.
their whole coaching staff before the season ended.
Yep.
Uh, the other team fired their quarterback before the season ended, and then the
Yeah.
other team fired their head coach 5 games
Yeah.
into the season.
Also fired their head. Yeah. So they say that the Chiefs still got a pretty solid lock on the division, which obviously is the reason that we sat most of our starters on Week 18 versus the Chargers.
Got to get some experience for the young guns.
Yeah, I got some young guys in there. Got some rest for some of the older guys. Get Patrick off the field. Get Travis,
Well,
and
except for one.
yeah, except for one guy who was playing for some money, which wouldn't have
Playing
had to be
playing
if
like he was possessed for some
yeah. Yeah, so Chris Jones, obviously, one of the bigger storylines of the game because he was playing for a $1.25 million sack incentive to get to double-digit sacks, and he was denied all the way up until like the third quarter, I believe, is when he
Yeah, he set
finally.
a pressure record in a half
Yeah,
for a
because
game.
despite not getting that sack until the third quarter, he was all over him. I mean, he was tearing up that offensive line for the Chargers. The entire rest of the D line was, all
Yeah,
backups in there still,
and
and
they
they
were
were
still
still.
getting after dudes,
Yeah, and
but
they were
Chris
still
was
dominating. I mean, I think Kershawn Wharton
absolutely.
had a sack early. I think there
Will
was like
Ferrell
another sack.
destroyed that poor guard or center, whoever was trying to block him on like a
Yeah.
couple of those plays. Like the 4 plays we got to see. Anyway, we'll get to that.
So the Chiefs D line, obviously they've showed up to play with Chris Jones being the highlight, finally getting that sack in the third quarter and the entire sideline going crazy. That was a pretty cool
Oh,
moment.
everybody, that was so cool.
Yeah. Now, of course, Chris acknowledged it in post game where he said, "Yeah, well, if I hadn't have missed so much or sat out the entire time, I wouldn't have had
I
to."
lost so much money holding out that I'm just making it back. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
quite the quote. Quite the
Could
quote.
have also done that in a game that mattered against, I don't know, Detroit at the beginning of the year instead of sitting in the
Yeah.
press box next to
Yeah.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum from Wish.com. But hey,
Hey,
we've had
congrats on
plenty
the
of
sacks.
conversation
Yeah.
about the Katz brothers, but I will say this: the 0% self-awareness of one of those individuals to tweet a congratulatory tweet about your player taking
Yeah.
all the risk and only getting some of the money back that you lost him with your decision making, just to then get flamethrowered and then delete said tweet,
Certainly look.
kind of tells
Certainly look.
everybody what kind of advice you may have been providing your client during some of his processes. But hey, we'll not go any farther than that because we've been down that road too many times to count.
Yeah,
So
that'll definitely still be a topic this offseason that we'll
God, I
highly
hope
delve
not, because I hope
into.
he fires him as soon as we're done with whatever we're doing in the
Well,
playoffs. But we'll
yeah,
see.
we can only hope. But otherwise, defense played pretty well. Obviously, held the Chargers to only 12 points. Offensively for
They were
the
great.
Chiefs. Yeah, I mean the defense played well. We saw a couple young guys get in there. Felix had some good reps. B.J. Thompson with his first game of the year had a really
He's
impressive
fun.
showing. He's got some. He's pretty explosive. He's
He destroyed a couple of guys on some
yeah.
plays that I didn't
He
think
definitely
were
had
going to
some
be up
very
that way of
solid
his.
pass reps that get a little bit more development in next year, and he might be a solid rotational piece in there.
He had a
So
pretty good play in the run game too. He blew up either a guard or a tackle off just
mm,
absolutely blew him up off the ball, and then made the play on the edge.
yeah,
And Man, for all the conversations this year about Felix and about BJ and some of the other guys, like for one, I don't understand why we saw as much Matt Dickerson as we did. We should have seen more Neil Farrell, but that's
He was back.
again.
Matt Dickerson was back.
Yeah. Matt Dickerson could have been on the practice squad still, and they could have elevated another offensive lineman, and we wouldn't have had as many wonky things happen with the O-line as we did. Because we had starters on the O-line
True.
playing that didn't need to be playing because we didn't have enough depth up for that line.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But yeah, the D line played pretty well. Obviously, all the young guys. Good to see that we have really the whole defense. It's good to see that they have the solid depth at those positions.
Obviously, Felix needs more reps, and that's fine, and he's going to get them. This was good work for him. He did some things in the run game that he didn't do earlier in the year, which was good. And he's okay in the pass game. He'll get better as he gets the timing better. Still looked like he was getting off. He had some snaps where he got off the ball really well, and then he had some where he was a little delayed.
Yeah.
But he's getting better in that area. He's getting better with his hands. I was very impressed and very happy with what we got out of BJ, what we got out of him, what we got out of several. Neil Farrell, for the minor amount of time we got him, looked pretty good. And also, I just really didn't realize how big that dude is.
Huge. I mean, he looks like Don Terry Poe. I mean, he's wearing 92.
But like 6'8".
Yeah, but like taller, like a taller Don Terry Poe. It's like,
he was huge.
I think it's whenever those big guys have the undershirt untucked and you can see. I feel like that's always it just really amplifies how big they are.
That dude was like 12 feet tall. He was. It just
big
looked.
Guy.
He looked just
I can see
different
why you might
in the
trade
middle.
a 6th-round pick for him to get a little bit of a.
Let's see what that looks like with a whole nother offseason and camp and working with Joe Cullen, because that's one guy who look. I'm very happy we haven't seen Spags' name at all in the pool of let's see who wants to be interviewed. I'm also very hopeful that we don't see Joe Cullen's name anywhere near those.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
Or for a defensive coordinator position, mind you, because he's done that before too.
Yeah, he might. I mean, he could. Depends on.
But I'm hoping
some off-season
Spags is happy. I'm hoping Joe is happy, and they're just here to try to increase their legacy and stack rings. There are some D-line coaches who just like coaching defensive line.
Yeah, I mean,
there's Howard Mudd was notorious for doing it. I think on the offensive side of the ball, only really wanted to coach the offensive line.
I mean, Andy Heck has been one of the best offensive line coaches, and he's just only been O-line. Just stick with your bread and butter and get those guys better.
That are some of the historic position coaches that you hear names of just only wanted to coach one thing.
Yeah. So shout out to the defense for playing well. Good to see the depth. Obviously, a couple other names. Shout out. Malik Herring had a good game. Cam Jones at linebacker had a good game.
We didn't even talk about Malik during that.
Yeah, Malik had I think the highest graded PFF grade for the.
He was very good, and he also I think had a sack or some tackles for loss. I know he had at least a tackle for loss.
So he had good showing. Good to see him flourishing with a more opportunity. Cam Jones had a good showing at linebacker. Jalen Watson was playing good. Joshua Williams was playing pretty good.
Cam Jones looks ready to go. Like Cam Jones looks like you have depth at linebacker that you may not have to sign one of those guys.
Yeah, especially when having Willie Gay and Drew Tranquil as a free agent. It's good to have that guy in your back pocket.
Yeah, that looked very nice. He was all over the place and making plays while being all over the place.
There's a reason that he was on the 53-man this whole year. It was funny because he was like a surprise pick. I don't think anyone preseason had him on their 53-man rosters.
More people were focused on Nick Jones than Cam Jones.
I don't even think we mentioned his name one time during preseason.
I think probably Ryan Tracy may have had Cam Jones because I think I remember him talking about it early.
I think us personally, I don't even think I knew that he was on the team. And then I saw he
when 53 hit. When the 53 hit, I remember everybody was really surprised his name was on it.
Yeah, so good for him to make a good opportunity out of that, and he was balling out. So defense, obviously not a worry going into the playoffs here. Offense, in the Chargers game, obviously it's not going to look that good because you have no Patrick Mahomes.
There were some good signs.
It didn't look too bad. I mean, for having Blaine Gabbert at quarterback.
There were some promising signs, even with the circus that was the offensive line from all the injuries that kind of stacked up there in that game.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Pirine had a decent, he was running the ball decently well. It wasn't too crazy. Mecole Hardman had a really good game, showing up big time.
Every snap,
yeah. So you can see how comfortable they are with Mecole.
That felt like a tune-up game. That felt like they're getting him ready for the playoffs.
Big contributor going forward. Yeah, definitely. So it's good to see him going well. Justin Ross had a little bit of action. That was good. Other than that, really wasn't any
They did what they needed to win the football game.
yeah,
That's
ultimately,
all I wanted to see from the offense with Blaine Gabbert is same thing we basically saw from Chad Henne. Can you do enough to
yeah,
win the game?
right. And when they needed it with like 2 minutes left or something, they drove down the field and just got a field goal and won the game. Simple as that. That's all you got to do. That's all we need from you. 13-12 is a win's a win. So that about wraps up the Chargers game and the regular season for the Chiefs, obviously.
11-6.
11-6. Yeah, it's not
They
the
went
most
under, I
impressive.
think, this year on their win total because I think they were 12.5.
I think so. Yeah,
But
I think they did go under. But it
another
doesn't matter now because we are
double-digit
in the
win.
playoffs. And
Another
every
double-digit
win
win season.
Yeah, every team is now 0-0 going into the playoffs, so it don't really
Patrick
matter what the
mentioned
regular
that
season
today in
was.
his press conference.
Yeah, it's
Everybody
a
is
good mindset to have.
0-0. Everybody is out here trying to win games, and everybody thinks they can win the Super Bowl. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
That is correct. That we are in the win and keep going portion of the tournament. This
yeah,
is what they
yep.
play for. I
This
know
is
it's weird. We don't,
time.
and it sounds probably spoiled somewhat that we don't have to fret as much over some regular season games anymore. I know
Yeah, but we
some
definitely
of the
don't have
fan
to
base
fret
is still
very
adjusting
much.
to that. Like every regular season game is not the be all end all of the world. Would you like to have seen some better things throughout the year or some progress and some? Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Don't take that wrong. But the sky is falling stuff that we do every year with this is getting a little much for as much as this team has won
yeah. As
continuously
soon
and
as the
repeatedly.
playoffs hit, a lot of that kind of goes away. We don't really. I mean,
Now
even
you need
last
to
year.
win.
Yeah,
And
even
that
last year when around this time, like the Chiefs had some very bad games that they played last year, and then look what happens. You get into the playoffs, that's all you need. That's all you got to worry about. So,
with that said,
yeah. With that said, before we head into the full blown playoff preview of the Dolphins heading to Arrowhead this week, and we got a couple other things that happened during the week. The Pro Bowl roster was announced, which obviously not really a big deal anymore these days. Kind of a joke, not actually a
it's a
Pro Bowl.
popularity contest. That's what the
It
the
is,
Pro Bowl is a
yeah.
popularity contest.
It very much is. Yeah,
And
it's
if you don't
not.
believe me, Jalen Ramsey played half a season and is a Pro Bowl corner.
Yeah, definitely not like a supreme. I mean, it's a good accomplishment, but not a very
I hate agents that tie
great
contract.
judge
I do.
of
If
how
you're an
well a
agent,
player.
don't tie Pro Bowl unless your player is like a popularity contest player. Don't tie
Right. Yeah.
incentives to Pro Bowls because Pro Bowls don't matter.
Yeah.
They
Really
don't
not
anymore.
a huge. I mean, definitely.
Mitch Schwartz is a 4-time All-Pro and a 0-time Pro Bowler, I believe.
Right.
Are you out of your mind?
Yeah. So
Okay.
definitely not a great judge of how the best players at their position.
I'm glad
But
that we had 6, I think.
do we have 6? I think we had 5.
Well, Chris, Travis, Patrick.
So we had we did have 5.
Creed,
So it was Patrick, Travis, Chris, Creed Humphrey, and Joe Tooney. Those were the 5.
And then I think there were some alternates also.
Yeah, we had some alternates. I believe Sneed, Nick Bolton,
alternate is disgusting.
Isaiah Pacheco, and one other person I think was an alternate.
Which some of those being alternates make sense. Sneed being an alternate is gross. He put up numbers similar to Stephon Gilmore DPOY year and
yeah,
didn't get a
Sneed
Pro
definitely
Bowl
the
nod.
biggest snub by far. Not even close. He should have easily been on it. Like I said, Jalen Ramsey, what are we doing here?
That's a similar conversation with the NFLPA's All-Pro team that got released, I think, yesterday, where that is strictly Chris and Travis somehow, some way.
Yeah, that one makes you. That one's
Ron
even
Bland and
worse.
Patrick
It seems
Surtain the
like
second are the corners, and
NFLPA team. I mean, who the heck cares about that one? That one's really bad. I mean,
I
Louise.
I can't do. So there's some issues with that stuff. Naturally, I hope the actual All-Pro team that comes out, I think, from the Associated Press and them
Yeah,
and whatnot,
AP All
is
Pro, where you have
better.
actual writers who actually studied
I
the game. Because
hope it's better than
the NFLPA one is still just a player vote. So
It's
I
a
mean,
friends contest at that point.
yeah, it's all nowadays. It's all just a popularity contest. How many followers you got?
I
How much
really hope the
interaction?
AP
Blah,
does
blah,
the
blah.
job like they're supposed to, because the AP is the one.
that's the one that's still very highly regarded. So we'll see. We'll see when I don't know when the AP usually comes out. I'll expect probably near the end of this week, if
Gotta
not
be
next week.
sometime soon, don't you think?
I mean, everyone's releasing their all pros this week. It seems like so.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, we'll see on the all pros. That's the one that really matters the most. A couple injuries to report before this this Dolphins game coming up. Biggest one we found out from the pressers the past couple of days. Jerick McKinnon is probably going to be out for the rest of the season after having to go undergo core muscle surgery and
Yeah.
also like a different. He had another issue going on too. It was
Not great.
definitely interesting. Yeah, it's one of those things that kind of those like hidden injuries that you don't really hear about a lot, similar to like what Nicole had last year, where you just kind of discover things and
They were trying to I don't know if they
unexpectedly.
were trying to see if it would heal or feel better on
Yeah,
its
that
own.
the way I
Surgery.
read the situation, it definitely seemed like something in the rehab recovery process probably didn't go right, and so they probably had to do some surgery on it to
Shut it
correct it
down
or
and change it.
something. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, that's what I kind of figured might have been the case. But unfortunately, we probably won't see
We'll
Jerick
never know
McKinnon.
for sure, and we probably
Yeah, we
won't get
probably won't find out the truth. But yeah, unfortunately, probably not going to see him the rest of the season. Maybe hopefully really late if we make it in the Super Bowl, maybe. But
I doubt
he
it.
is a free agent after the season, so
That's still
uh,
tough.
yeah. So that's unfortunate to see, especially with some of the other injuries kind of in the wide receiver or in the running back room.
Pacheco being back is good.
He's
That's
back.
massive.
That's going to be very
Um,
crucial going forward in the playoffs.
your
Um,
conversation about P. Ryan in the Chargers game, he had an okay day. It was
Yeah,
decent.
I mean
He made a
he can
couple of
run the
plays.
ball for you. It's not going to be
Um,
anything spectacular, but he can run the block.
the guy whose job it is now to fill that Jerick McKinnon role is the guy they drafted to fill that role with 4 years ago.
4 years ago, first
It's Clyde's
rounder.
turn to do the job. He's been decent this year blocking, and he's been decent catching the ball out of the backfield. It's what Jerick McKinnon has been asked to do a lot. Don't ask him to run
Yeah,
outside zone like you do with Jerick McKinnon, please. You're going to anyway. I know. I get it.
probably
I
gonna do
just
anyways.
don't
Yeah,
want you to.
I got
But
used to it.
him out of the backfield as a screen option, as a blocker, as a receiver, and also you can use Pacheco that way because Pacheco has that in his game. But Clyde is, I think, right now better catching the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah, that's
He
definitely his
absolutely mossed that dude.
bread and butter. I mean, he mossed the old buddy, and that was only a couple of games ago too. I
Yeah.
mean, definitely he's actually had a pretty big come up from the season start to where he's gotten to now. So
For what everybody
shout
had to
out
say
Clyde.
about that dude, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely rely on him a lot going
Gonna
forward
need
in
him.
this postseason, which is a great transition into this game. First, the Dolphins at Arrowhead. Kyle, Mr. Weatherman here, who is local in Kansas.
It's gonna
It's
be
gonna be chilly,
real
ain't it?
cold, folks.
It's gonna be real cold.
Let's pull up the current
Yeah,
forecast. So
it's gonna be a cold
Saturday's
one in Kansas
current
City.
weather forecast, it's gonna definitely snow Friday. Looking at
Definitely
this
snowing.
forecast.
There's currently snow in Kansas City.
And it's gonna be 9 degrees for the high on Saturday
Yeah,
and around
and the game's at 7:20, I believe, right?
-5 for Saturday night, and
Yeah,
that doesn't include the wind chill factor
wind
in
chill
that.
is wind chill is a thing.
And the wind chill is going to be anywhere from -10 to -15. So if you are going to the game, guys, please dress very warmly
Ooh,
accordingly.
yeah,
Also, Justin
psycho.
Reed talked about it today, and apparently Arrowhead Security has thrown it out as it's allowed. If you bring a 3x5, I believe, Garrett, piece of
Three by
cardboard, you can
five
stand on them.
cardboard piece of cardboard. Stand on
Also,
that
if you want
thing.
to be real safe, just write a cut like "Go Chiefs" on it, so it's technically a sign also, and that will probably
Boom.
allow it in
And
too.
just stand on that thing because that concrete does get cold. I don't know if from first-hand experience. Kyle does.
Hot
Kyle
hands
does.
are a good thing. The hand
You
warmers,
need
grab them at your
hand
gas
warmers.
station and anything like that. Also,
Get you some hand warmers.
go to a sporting goods store and grab some overall or like some snow pants and
Yep.
whatnot, like thermal
Yeah.
gear. And then I don't know, don't cut the
Y'all
tags off
don't
of
have
it.
Big Five sporting goods, but if you had a Big Five sporting goods, we have snow pants. I'm just saying. But yeah, you're gonna need
Dick's,
some
sporting
thermals.
goods, anything
Yeah,
like
you're
that.
gonna need thermals. You're gonna need hot hands. You're gonna need the
Boots.
whole 9 yards.
I'd wear boots.
I personally could not.
I'd
I'm
wear a ski
just
mask also.
I
Now
could
be
never.
loud. You can be
Yeah,
loud still, but it's
gotta
gonna
be
be. And
loud. Yeah,
actually, a good way to stay warm is to stay up on your feet and be loud. So
boom. Pound the seats. Pound. Get some. really make those Dolphins unwelcome because
More cowbell. No, I don't know what the
maybe though,
NFL rules are on
maybe though,
noisemakers and whatnot, but
yeah,
yeah.
but maybe though.
So
I'm saying
with that said, it's going to be cold, and the
could not.
Dolphins had a chance to be hosting a game this week
They
in
did.
nice
They blew it.
70s or 80-degree weather, and instead they get to
Whew.
come up here to a very cold environment. And everybody can say it doesn't matter all they want, but players that have played in it, like I don't know, Jawan Taylor talked about it when he played against us last year in the same similar scenario, and it wasn't nearly as cold last year as it is going to be this
Not
year.
even close. Yeah, it's like 20
Guys,
degrees
it
colder.
matters. This team, they should. This should be fun. This should be what they want. And to
This
all
is a
the Dolphins
very
fans whining about needing to move the game because it's too cold outside, no, go away.
yeah. This is definitely hindsight. This is probably one of the more ideal matchups that you can have for the Chiefs in the playoffs going forward in the wild card.
They've beat this
Um,
team already.
They have beat this team already, so we know we're very familiar with some of their players. Obviously, they actually signed a couple guys,
Mm,
some former
It's
Chiefs.
a whole reunion tour over
Yeah,
there. That's
they got a whole reunion. Actually, their three active pass rushers are all three former Chiefs:
and they
Emmanuel
also
Agba,
had
Melvin
other
Ingram, Justin
Chiefs that
Houston.
got hurt last week
Yep,
that were on the
yep.
D line too.
Yeah, it's they definitely a lot of familiarity between these two teams,
Hmm,
having played already once this season.
There's and some times against some guys from previous seasons. We've seen Jalen
Yeah,
Ramsey. We traded
yeah,
Tyreek Hill there.
yeah.
Eli Apple's there, guys. That's gonna be
Eli
fun.
Apple is a Dolphin. We know very much about Eli Apple.
And didn't they lose Xavier Howard?
I think so. I think
This is
he
a
has been
very
out.
so
Yeah.
what we're gonna do now is pull up the injury report for this
Yeah, the
week
Dolphins are
because
very banged up. Actually,
they
they
lost
are
Bradley Chubb for the year.
Bradley Chubb, yeah, he tore his ACL week 18. That's very
Yeah,
big loss for him.
that was
And
unfortunate.
also, I believe Andrew Van Ginkel
Yes, he's
also
very
out.
hurt, I
Yeah,
believe, because he had some issues in week 18 as well. That's why they had to sign some of the pass rushers they had to sign.
exactly. Yeah, I think they actually might have
Um,
put him on IR because he's not even on the injury report. So
so Javon Holland is a do not participant 2 days in a row with a knee injury.
yeah,
Deshaun Elliott
big
is
time loss
due
for him.
DNP 2 days in a row with a calf injury. Xavier Howard is a DNP 2 days in a row with a foot injury. That's three starters in the secondary.
Yeah, and
Teron
it's keep
Armstead
going.
has 3 injuries listed. He was a DNP on
Yeah,
Tuesday
knee,
and a
ankle, and
limited
back.
participant today. Um, Achan is back. He's been limited all week. Eichenberg got banged up, I think, last week. He's been limited both days this week. Tyreek got banged up last week in 2 areas, ankle and his quad. He's
He's
been limited
limited.
all week.
Yeah,
Raheem Mostert should be back. He missed last week and I think the week prior.
yeah, he's been
Um,
banged up.
and he's limited. Jalen Ramsey is limited with a knee, and I think that's been that way all year. And Jalen Waddle missed last week, and he is limited with an ankle. And I don't know what Jalen Waddle's full status will be either because he's been
That's
hurt
a lot of
too.
limiteds. That's a lot of limiteds. I mean,
That is
that's
not to
not.
say that the Chiefs are not without their injuries, but they don't look the same.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs have a lot of full participants most of the way through
Nick
this week.
Bolton, Deion Bush, Shamari Connor, Noah Gray, Isaiah Pacheco, Rasheed Rice, Jawan Taylor, Marquez Valdez Scantling, and Jalen Watson, all full participants both days.
Yep, and then Kadarius Toney was limited both days with a hip and ankle. Snead was limited with a calf on Tuesday and full participant today, which is Wednesday. Donovan
Traditional.
Smith, which is going to be a very big
That's
topic
the
we'll
big
talk about
question.
in a second. He was limited both days with the neck. Justin Ross was DNP and limited with a hamstring. And then Wanye Morris, the other thing we're going to talk about probably right now, he was DNP both days with a concussion.
And I don't think there's enough time in the protocol for him to make it back from that. So
Yeah, especially playing on Saturday, it's probably going to be cutting it pretty close for Wanya to get back out of the concussion protocol
that
before
means
Saturday, which means that we're gonna, well, maybe probably see Donovan Smith back at left
I hope
tackle. He's
so.
been out since I believe like what week 13 or something. He was out or
On and off since then, at least.
yeah. So he's been battling a neck injury, stinger type deal for a couple weeks now. And so hopefully, per reports that I've seen, he should be pretty good to go. But the neck injury it's always very scary. You know, one wrong hit and it might kind of act up on you. And we saw it
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago where he kind of came in and out of the game, rotating with Wanye because he was not feeling very great with that neck injury. So hopefully he's going to be good to go at left tackle. Otherwise, we might have some drastic measures in place. Might see. Hopefully, we'll probably see a couple of practice squad elevations.
Yeah, I
For
would
some
expect to
offensive
see
linemen.
if anything happens or if Donovan's not great, you'll probably see Joe Tooney kick outside.
Yeah, that'd be the ideal. I would honestly rather just see him kick out. And we talked about this pre-show. I'd rather see Joey Tooney just kick out to left tackle right away, and not
I
even
wouldn't
risk it with
either.
Donovan. But
I
obviously, they're
get
probably going to want to give him a go and see if they can do it or not. But
strictly because, and I think it's strictly because you want to change as few things as possible on that offensive line. So if you
yeah,
can keep the symmetry of the 4 on the left, or even all 5 for most of the season, you can do that. That's why they were okay with switching Wanye and not necessarily moving Tooney out right away. But
right.
in case of emergency, the pull switch is, for me, Tooney goes to left tackle, Allegretti goes to left guard, and you move with that group of 5.
Yeah, because that's still a pretty solid grouping, and really the Chiefs' two other kind of tackle options behind everybody is Lucas Niang, who really you want to play him at right tackle more than anything.
Which
You really
means then
don't
you have to
want,
flip flop Jawan Taylor, and that gets messy. And
yeah, you don't really want to do that, and you don't really want to put Niang. I mean, in a pinch, he could be at left tackle, but you really don't want him there.
right,
And then the only other option would be like elevating Darian Kennard, who
which I think
again,
they
kind of
probably should
a
do anyway for depth
yeah,
purposes.
probably should do that anyways, but also more of a break in case of emergency player.
Yes.
Anyways, you don't want to put him right at left tackle right away. So
That would be the backup for your guard to guard portion if something were to
right,
going down in
yeah,
there. Once you've got Allegretti in the game,
he's
you would
definitely a
bring, you
guard
still
backup.
have who's
Caliendo,
Caliendo to
yeah,
have as your pull in case of last resort at one of the tackle spots after those 2 guys.
exactly. So
So
we will definitely see about the Chiefs' offensive line situation. Hopefully, it pans out pretty well. Like I said,
yeah,
Joe
fingers
Tooney, if he
crossed
has to
Donovan
kick
Smith's
out,
back and he's okay.
yeah, exactly.
He's at least
That's a
been
big.
serviceable when he's been on the field and healthy. So
Yep. I would agree with that for sure. So yeah, other big storylines going into this game besides the freezing cold,
has it
Dolphins
been?
being
Is it well? That's a big key. We've kind of talked about the cold and we talked about the offensive line. If they do have to reshuffle this offensive line, I hope that they run the ball down their throat because that
yeah,
line is far more built to run the ball. It's gonna be cold. The
very
Dolphins'
cold.
interior is also beat up because I think they lost some people. The Dolphins, they've had
They've
a
gotten very beat up down the
murderous
stretch. They
injury
went
roll
from a very hot out the gates to very beat down the stretch. I think they lost a good amount of their last few games too. It's kind of a downward trend that the Dolphins been on the past couple weeks, but still a very explosive team, very hot. Uh, but
Okay, here's
you're
their
not gonna be
IR
very hot
guys.
in the cold weather.
This
Yeah,
is
that's a
this
problem.
is their IR and their out list. Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Connor Williams, Isaiah Wynn, Keon Cross, and Salvin Ahmed, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert,
Yeah,
Xavier Howard, Cameron Good, Andrew Van Ginkel. That was a list from January 8th. That's bad.
it's pretty bad. Yeah.
Now, some of
So
those
as
guys
far as
might play this week, but that's a long. Several of those dudes are on IR.
yeah, that's I say it's never the Dolphins are definitely the underdogs going into this one.
They don't have an interior right now, and you have an advantage in the
No,
interior. Run the ball. It's going to be cold. They're not going to look. This is a game to just physically exert yourselves dominance over the team. Like this is a
yeah,
game for that. It's going to be nasty cold outside. It's going to be windy. Receivers already don't like getting hit. We've had enough trouble with drops this year. Run the ball. Run the
run the ball.
screen
Just
game.
go ahead and run the ball.
Punish
Hand it off
them.
to Pop. You'll be good. That's all you got to
Now,
worry about. Defense is going to handle their thing on the other side. We
that's the
already know
part
they're
that's
going to
going to
have.
be fun
Yeah,
because
that's going to be fun for sure.
if Spags does what I think Spags will do, he's going to make Tua beat him without Tyreek Hill. They're going to stop the run, they're going to take away Tyreek, and they're going to say, somebody else do it. And I don't know that, even in good weather in a game of this magnitude, that Tua is going to have that in him. But I dang sure don't think he's going to have it in him in -20 when that dude, I don't know that he's ever played anywhere near -20.
That's
Maybe he
I mean,
has.
that's a Hawaiian boy.
And then played
I
at
mean,
Alabama.
played at Bama, so you're not really, and then
It's
you play
pretty
in
warm,
Miami, so
like
yeah,
everywhere.
it's
I
definitely this is probably gonna be a lot of people's coldest games that they've ever played in, honestly.
that shirt that McDaniel wore a couple weeks ago or whatever when they were playing Buffalo that one time when he said he wishes it was colder outside. Well,
Here you go.
it's going to
Here
be
you
colder
go.
outside, I think.
It's gonna be real cold out there. Yeah, like I said, defense, I'm really not worried about too much.
I
We held
think
them to 14 points in our first matchup with them, and I think they look
stop the
even
run.
worse and more beat up then, or they do now than they did then. So
Yeah. But they're going to have, I think, well, we didn't see Achan in that game, so he's a little different. But
yep, yeah,
Mostert's been banged up, and
that's gonna be
Achan
their
did not
big
have
thing.
a great time last week.
They're gonna have to rely on their run game, kind of making some strides for them. Obviously, the Chiefs' run game has been the Chiefs' run defense has been less than their past defense, but it's still been okay. I mean, it's not been too bad. We've seen the Raiders have some good games against us and whatnot, some premier backs, but
I will
just
say
to
it's been oddly quiet from a certain Dolphins player this week.
has been kind of quiet.
Now, he said plenty in the offseason and in the weeks leading up to the Germany game.
We don't need any more. Yeah, just leave the comments.
But he
It's
hasn't
the
said much
postseason, all
since
right?
the Germany game. Now, I have a
Kind of funny.
feeling if they go out and lock this team down, like I think the defense will, there's going to be some social media things after the game that are going to be fun for this
Yeah.
fan base to enjoy.
I mean, we saw what happened last time. Last time there was some social media things that were pretty fun. So
And it was pretty tame because some of them thought that there were several people that thought
they
these
were
two
pretty
teams
tame.
might see each other
They
again.
might get a little more extreme in the playoffs, because the playoffs are different. And like we said, it's interesting because I was one of the ones.
Stage.
This is a different stage, and even like myself during most of the season, I was kind of a little bit down on the Chiefs. I really was not thinking that the Chiefs were going to win a playoff game this year. Just being completely honest, but given the circumstances, given the fact that the Chiefs are kind of more of an upward trend, the Dolphins are on a little bit of a downward trend. It's going to be cold. It's going to be very cold.
The Dolphins
at Arrowhead,
have beaten
so that's always
exactly
good.
one playoff team this year, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big thing. They're like 1-6 versus teams with winning records or playoff teams or something like that.
Like I said, literally blowing a game for home field advantage throughout most of the playoffs, unless they had to play Baltimore last week when they had the chance to not give the Bills the division, and they did.
So safe to say, like going into this game, I actually have a lot of confidence in the Chiefs. Now they could still go out and lay an egg.
They could.
I think I might have said on this podcast that it's about 25% chance of the Chiefs playing good on any given day. Mostly the offense playing good. About 25% chance. I might raise it to like 50, 55 for this game, but I'm definitely more confident in the Chiefs going into this one. And all it takes is one to get the streak going, the momentum going. And
they got momentum last week, winning that game with with their whole backup offense kind of in, and a lot of secondary depth players on defense, and I know it's Ethan Stick and the Chargers team but those dudes are all playing for jobs because they don't have a coach or a GM there anymore. So
yeah,
they weren't laying down, and Austin Eckler still got nothing basically last week. Ethan Stick was the biggest problem, and because he kept barely getting away from everybody. Now, are they going to have to make sure that they take care of that better in the playoffs with some of the quarterbacks they might face? Sure. Is Tua that guy, right? No.
I just don't think so right now. Yeah.
He's not.
I mean, the Dolphins, they were a fun story.
Tua's not Lamar, okay? Tua's not going to break your back with his legs. He's not even, frankly, I don't even think he's Joe Burrow with his legs because he's not as big and he's not as fast.
Yeah, he's really not much of a scrambler, really.
He's more of a move around creatively in the pocket and throw than he is I'm going to run the ball for the first down. And it's probably, he's had some head issues from concussions from getting bad things done to him. So they don't want him running as much. But also, it's never really been his forte.
No, I mean, even at Alabama, he was really more of kind of a pocket passer anyways. I mean, he wasn't. Yeah.
Didn't they bring Jalen Hurts in for the QB run type stuff?
Yeah, exactly. They did. They would rotate him in. So
again, that tells you
that's kind of
look, man, the Dolphins had a crazy year.
They did.
and they beat up some bad teams, frankly.
They did beat up some bad teams.
They also had some horrible luck down the stretch with injuries, which
Yeah,
that
yeah,
happens in the NFL, man. It's one of the things with the NFL. It's a war of attrition. I kind of feel bad. I have one of my best friends is a Dolphins fan. I feel a little bit bad for him because they were flying pretty high and then they flew a little too close to the sun and bad things
yeah.
happened.
I will say my aunt and uncle are Dolphins fans, and seeing them at Christmas, they were very high on the Dolphins, and I had it as like, hey, I know it's nice, it's you've never been here before, you never been this high, but you gotta appreciate it a little more because
And then it bit
yeah,
them in successive weeks and bad, and it's just and they
yeah.
had, like I said, some
So
bad luck, man. You never want to see teams or guys get hurt like some of these guys got hurt. Like that's not good.
no,
So
and it does suck,
you want to
and
play teams at full strength. You don't want
right,
anybody's.
yeah. And I think
So
going forward for the Dolphins, I think they'll have a good. I think they
this is a
still set
year to
up.
build on. The
Yeah,
question will
hey,
be: is
you
the
made the
quarterback a
playoffs.
guy to
You're
build
good.
with?
Next year, come back, or go even stronger. You probably have a very solid shot of winning your division.
But we don't want to get too far ahead because this game still could go their way.
That's true. That's true. We never know.
Don't turn
Any
the
given
ball over.
Sunday, or in this case, Saturday, we
I
will definitely
don't.
see.
The Chiefs playoffs for me come down to this: don't turn the ball over. Don't shoot yourselves in the foot with the penalties or anything else.
That's
Or
possible.
drops, the penalty, the little things. Do the basic little things in the game, and you guys can beat anybody.
Yeah,
Don't
I
do
mean,
those
even
things, and you can lose to literally anybody.
just just vanilla stuff. I mean, let's just do some vanilla, good old fashioned football. Run it down their throat. Don't do anything crazy or cute, and you're probably winning this game pretty easily.
Let Patrick win you the game like by controlling the game. You don't have to go win it with his arm. Let him dictate the game. Let him dictate the flow, and let him run the game.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree.
All right. With
Do
that all said, what do we want to do here? We want to do predictions.
yeah, might as well. Might as well. I might as well get a little score predictions. Might to cap this thing off. In the frigid Arrowhead winter that we're gonna see.
So
I
the
wonder.
line is moved over a point.
I was just about to ask, what is the
It's
line?
now
What's the over
KC
under?
minus 4.5, according to ESPN. The over under is set at 44.5.
44.5. Yeah,
Guys,
that's pretty low.
guys, I'm probably leaning on that under. It's gonna be
Yeah,
nasty.
yeah. I was kind of thinking that same thing. I was probably thinking the ballpark of maybe like a 28-10 maybe. That might be a little generous, but that's hits the under.
24-17 is my thought with
Yeah,
a touchdown to make it closer than it was.
yeah,
I think it's probably 21-10, go down the last drive. They stall it. We stall in the red zone again, kick a field goal,
yeah. It might be a field goal fest
24,
once again. We're gonna
24-10, and then the Dolphins, got 5 or 6 minutes, go down the field, get a touchdown with like a minute and a half left because the Chiefs just made them eat clock to get down the field. And it's 24-17, or it's 24-10 because Tua throws another pick because Chase Claypool can't run a route like last week.
that was bad. Yeah, that was real bad. Chase Claypool having playing time in an offense is pretty bad. People were
They're so
asking for him in
hurt.
Kansas City, which is
They're
crazy.
so hurt. Like
Yeah,
they're hurt everywhere.
yeah. It's the Dolphins have plenty of outs for losing this game and having a lot of dignity and a lot of respect. But also if they pull it off, that's a real big accomplishment for them. So we'll see. We'll see how it fares in the frigid weather of Arrowhead this Saturday.
I can't tell
Exclusively
you
on
that our
Peacock.
recap is going to be, or if we have a recap and preview for the following week, that it's going to be as positive as this one is right now. I can't guarantee you that. That depends on who we play.
Yeah, it's gonna be definitely whoever we get next round. Probably not gonna be as formidable as this matchup might be. So
This
we'll
one's going to
definitely
be
see.
this one's still going to be a good football game. I think
I
it's
think it's
going to
gonna be a
be.
good football game. I think it's gonna be a good football game. Hopefully, this can help build us some momentum for the rest of the season. We appreciate you guys rocking with us this entire regular season. Obviously, it's definitely been a little up and down compared to the past couple seasons. We've been doing this for three,
Yeah,
four,
3 seasons, at
three
least three
seasons
seasons now.
since the 55 Super Bowl. So that was
Yeah.
55. 50, so
So what?
3 years. This is our
4,
fourth. This is our
almost
fourth
4.
year. This is our fourth
I
year
can't.
doing this thing.
Time is
Yeah,
flying past. So
that's crazy. 4 years. I mean, what the heck? Kingdom says 4 years.
I guess we
Yeah, it's
technically had this one didn't start 4 years ago, but we were doing something similar to this under
we
a
were doing
different
something
name.
similar. Yeah, we were podcasting 4 years
We
ago,
don't
and this.
we don't talk about that place anymore.
But
Period. We
all
we
that
did
to be
our
said, this was
Stephen A. I'm only going to talk about this place once type of deal. We won't
we
do
sure
that again.
did. All that to say though that this season definitely the hardest probably to cover of our time so
Just from
far.
everything that happened with all of us, not even with the team stuff, but
Yeah,
it's
I
been
mean
fun,
team
man,
stuff
and
aside, just definitely
I
a
appreciate
very
all you do with this and how much
yeah.
fun it is to do this stuff with you guys every week.
It's been a good time. Tom obviously couldn't be here tonight, but he's been a big part of this too. We
Yes.
added the Kingdom Recon guys this year, and
Couldn't
that's
do it
been a
without
big.
him and them.
Tom is huge. Yeah, Tom is big time. We're very glad to have him. It's a fun thing that we're doing here. We really do appreciate you guys
We also want to say happy
rocking with
holidays because I
us.
know we didn't really have episodes. We
Yeah,
missed
Happy New Year. This is actually the
the
first
New Year
episode of
episode, so
2024. So we
yeah.
missed last week. So I think there's some good things ahead. Hopefully, Chiefs football aside, we got good things going on in everybody's lives. And
And we hope we get to ride with you guys all the way through February again.
yeah, otherwise, Tom's going to start giving you some draft content right down your throat. You better be ready for it.
Yep, lots of that. And
'Cause-
we're going to have a bunch of it this year. And we may even have some special stuff for you guys this year because we're working on some stuff behind the
yeah,
scenes to get you some
yeah.
cool content this year. So
So be sure to
stay tuned.
follow us at Kingdom Says Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And Kingdom Recon.
Kingdom Recon, check them out as well. They're on Twitter. We're going to get them set up on more stuff going forward. But we definitely have a lot of big plans this off season, which hopefully still it doesn't begin for a couple more weeks. We will see though.
Yeah, we'd like to see
sure.
you guys start those plans in about a month. That'd be great.
Exactly. Hopefully it follows the usual course of that timeline like we're used to. But be sure to check us out. YouTube, Kingdom Says on there.
Please go subscribe to the YouTube channel. That helps us out tremendously. It
That's
will help
going to be
us
a big one.
launch. It will
That's
help
gonna
us
be a
launch a
big
lot
one
of the
going
other
forward.
content that we're hoping to launch for you guys. We wanted to get some of that going throughout this season, but we've run into some stuff where we need some help. We need some subscribers on the YouTube channel because we need to be able to pump some stuff out to you guys that we can't do without that. So
Yeah.
if you guys can help us out there and rate us, like us, subscribe, all the stuff on all your platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff.
Spotify, yeah. Give us a rating, give us a review, leave some comments.
If you have a question, drop them in the reviews. We'll be doing another mailbag soon. And to our winner of the Flash giveaway, your print will be headed your way. I believe tomorrow is when it's scheduled to be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Always good to check us out on Twitter because we have little Flash giveaways like that sometimes.
And
you never know.
Yes, make sure you're on the Twitter. Make sure you have the notifications on for it so you can get all those updates when they happen.
Exactly.
We'll have a bunch more stuff. And thank you, Corey, for the prints that we are able to give away because that is the print.
Shout out Corey. He's been very big.
He's got new work coming out of Patrick. Go check it out.
Yeah, that's gonna be sick. So yeah, I think that does it. Wraps up the regular season, playoff going forward. Hopefully it's a good time. Otherwise we will enjoy the off season. I hope you all enjoy this 2024. Hopefully it's a good year for everybody. And we appreciate you for rocking with us once again. And we will see you guys on the next episode of The Kingdom Says.